Hey, what's up? We're going to be doing a different kind of video today, and this is going to be on the Darrick Minner versus Shayilan Nuerdanbieke fight. I didn't see too many major media outlets talking about this, so I probably wouldn't have made a video or spoke on it, but I feel like this needs to be talked about, and I didn't really see anyone giving their opinion on this fight. I saw some people on Twitter kind of speculating, but no real major people talking about it, and I feel like this needs to be talked about for sure because Darrick Minner versus Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, I feel like this potentially could have been a fake fight or rigged fight. And yeah, I think there's a lot of evidence to support that, or at least there's some circumstantial evidence to support it. And usually I'm not into, this type of speculation and everything like that. But just looking at the way the fight went, the circumstances leading up to the fight, it's all a little bit strange. And definitely going to talk about it here. So just talking about this fight before it started, full disclosure, I did have a bet on Darrick Minner, but personally, I don't think that should have any jurisdiction, and I'm totally non-biased. I've had hundreds of bets that have lost on here, hundreds of predictions, and I've never came on here and gave this type of analysis saying a fight was potentially rigged. So it's just my opinion on this fight, so don't take it as me kind of sour grapes in it. I really do believe that this probably was a rigged fight. I mean, just looking at it and the way it went down, but talking about how just right before at the beginning of the week, Minner was like a plus 175 underdog. And Friday, I believe he was like plus 185. And then Saturday, he was like plus 200. So there was a little bit of money coming in on Nuerdanbieke throughout the week, but really nothing major. And then right before the fight started, about 2 hours before fight time, we started to see extreme jumps in the line. Like, for instance, right here on Bet Online, within 2 hours, Shayilan Nuerdanbieke's odds went from minus 200 to minus 360. And just a couple hours after that, right before the fight started, it was all the way at minus 450 favorite for Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. So a ton of money started coming on Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, and it was very, very strange, obviously. I mean, you normally don't see that type of line moving, especially right before the fight or if at all. And so yeah, it definitely raised some flags. People were thinking maybe Darrick Minner had an injury coming into the fight. Maybe some outside information came in. And then we saw how the fight went down, and I'm going to show you guys the ending to the fight right here, and you guys can tell me what you think about it. I'll tell you what I think about it a little bit right after the fight. And so here we go. The fight starts, right? It's right now, and it's about to end pretty quickly. But you see how the fight's going, right? And apparently he has that knee injured, the knee on the front side. He switches stances, throws a body kick, hurts his knee apparently, throws another body kick with the same leg. I mean, to me, that's extremely strange. And then he just folds up and basically lets Shayilan Nuerdanbieke finish him off here with the ground and pound. And that's the end of the fight. So, I mean, just what I'm seeing from this fight, I don't understand why, if you were having an injured knee, why would you be throwing two kicks with a knee? Why would you switch stance to throw kicks with that leg and get finished? I mean, to me, it doesn't make too much sense. And just looking at how the fight went down, I mean, it ended in about a minute. Obviously, Darrick Minner was injured going into the. They want us to believe that he was injured going into the fight, and he, basically had 0% chance to win, right? And if that was it, if that was everything that happened, I probably wouldn't even have said anything. I probably would just leave it alone and not really talk about it because, that is sketchy, the way that fight looked, the odds, everything about it, but yeah, I mean, maybe you could just say, okay, it was just a really weird thing. But the other thing that kind of put me over the edge to make this video is James Krause, right? James Krause, everyone knows him. He's a coach. He's in a lot of corners. He used to be a pro fighter, and he's a pretty well-respected guy in the MMA world. But recently, this year, he started, to really get into the MMA betting side of things. He created a Discord, and he's on podcasts talking about bets and things like that, and really, really into betting, talking about how he's making six figures betting and things like that. And when you're cornering a guy, he was cornering Darrick Minner, and then all of a sudden, a couple hours before the fight, there's all this money pouring in on the opponent. The guy comes in and has a showing where it looks like the fight either rigged or he was definitely coming in there with a big injury. I mean, one thing you could say is, okay, maybe they didn't rig the fight. Maybe Darrick Minner was just really hurt and it got out, someone heard about it, and then a lot of people started putting money on it. But And I don't know. To me, the way that fight looked, it was extremely sketchy. The way he switched stance through the body kicks with that leg that was injured apparently 2 times in a row, hurt his leg, and then threw it again. I mean, to me, all of that didn't make much any sense at all. And yeah, I mean, I just think this is a bad look for the UFC, man. I don't think they could have a guy like James Krause that's cornering so many guys. I mean, this is one of the most prominent coaches in the UFC. I mean, you see him cornering guys almost every single week in the Apex. And I saw that they did put out a memo talking about UFC fighters weren't allowed to bet, but I did see that James Krause was still betting and said that it didn't affect him because he wasn't a current athlete on the roster, which may or may not be true. I don't really 100% know the policy for the UFC. But to me, James Krause, I mean, this should get investigated, man. They should look into this at the very least and see what went on with this fight because, I mean, we've had precedent with this before with Tai Hyun Bang versus Leo Kuntz, and in that situation, Tai Hyun Bang actually got, like, I believe, like a $50,000 bribe and betted on his opponent, and then the UFC actually caught on before the fight, so they went in the back and basically told him, you know, you better not throw this fight, and he ended up winning. So he blew all his money, and then he still had to go to prison after for, you know, engaging in fight-fixing things like that. I guess I don't necessarily know exactly the law that they got him on, but yeah, so it's already happened in the UFC, and I feel like this is another case where I don't necessarily know why most of the media isn't talking about it. I guess it's kind of a thing that maybe some people don't really feel comfortable speculating on, but to me, man, this looked super fishy. It looked extremely blatant, like it could have been a rigged fight. And I think someone has to say it. Someone has to talk about it. And I want your guys' opinion. I don't know if I'm way off base here. I mean, do you guys think I'm crazy? Do you guys think he just had an injury going in the fight and that was it? And, you know, I'm being a dick. I mean, I don't know. If I get a ton of comments saying that I'm way off base here, maybe I'll just delete the video. But this is just my opinion. And, yeah, I feel like this is potentially a rigged fight. I think it needs to be looked into. And yeah, I just feel like James Krause, the issue with him betting needs to kind of come to an end with the UFC because it's just a bad look, man, for all MMA in general. You don't want to be having these kind of situations, even if it didn't happen, where people like me or anyone could go out there and speculate, oh, this was rigged. You don't want that, man. So I feel like they need to get that under control, kind of try to figure out what happened with this situation. And yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. So that's just the video here for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it a little bit and kind of my thoughts. I want to know what your guys' opinion are, so put it down below. Do you think this was a fake fight, or do you think Minner was just injured, or what's your opinion on it as a whole? So I am interested, and thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to be doing the UFC 281 breakdown and predictions video. Already got 2 bets on there for UFC 281, so make sure to definitely go out there on Patreon and check those out if you're interested. And also, I actually have a few bets for Fury FC today. I have 4 bets, so if you want to make some money on a Sunday on MMA, you know, kick back, watch some fights, definitely get on the Patreon. It's only $10. You can get a few bets for Fury, make some money. And yeah, man, I mean, right now, if you were to have gotten the full yearly package, $300 on the Patreon, and bet $100 on all my bets, you would be up over $9,000 profit. So I feel like the value is definitely there. It's cheap, and it gives you a lot of money in return. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll be back talking about the UFC 281 show later.